And thank you, Ranking Member Garcia. And thank you to all the members of the committee. My name is Keith Ellison, and I have the honor of serving as Minnesota's Attorney General. You have invited me here today to speak about the topic I feel very strongly about, fraud enforcement. I look forward to discussing the contributions of my office and the contributions we've made to fighting fraud in our state. Fraud in government programs is reprehensible. It takes food from the tables of the hungry. It takes shelter from those without it. I have worked every day as Attorney General to hold fraudsters accountable, and I'm proud of our record. We've won 300 Medicaid fraud convictions, more than any other state of similar size, and recovered over $80 million for Minnesota taxpayers. We've returned tens of millions of dollars to victims of consumer fraud in Minnesota. Since 2019, our Charities Division has resolved over 50 investigations and dissolved 17 sham nonprofits. It's important to note that under Minnesota law, my office has limited jurisdiction over criminal matters. The only kind of criminal case we can prosecute all on our own is Medicaid fraud. Any other kind of criminal case must be referred to us by county attorneys. Still, we've punched above our weight where we do have criminal jurisdiction. I'm proud of that. Over the past 6 years, my Medicaid fraud control unit has ranked 5th in the nation in fraud convictions. Last week, I urged the state legislators to pass a bipartisan Medical Assistance Protection Act, which would give us additional resources to prosecute Medicaid fraudsters. Where fraud occurs outside of our jurisdiction, my office has and will continue assisting our local and federal partners. When our help is requested, we support our 87 county attorneys in Minnesota, and we regularly coordinate with federal investigators and prosecutors to combat fraud. That type of collaboration between enforcers at all levels of the government is essential in this fight. And that is why, if we are to discuss law enforcement efforts in Minnesota, we cannot ignore the devastating effects of Operation Metro Surge. As you know, the Trump administration, on the pretext of fighting fraud, unleashed over 3,000 masked, armed agents on the streets of Minnesota. And as a result, 2 U.S. citizens were killed by federal agents, Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Federal law enforcement still refuses to cooperate with us in investigating their deaths. Young, innocent children were detained and traumatized. Schools and businesses were forced to close, costing countless families their jobs, their livelihoods, their education, and costing our state hundreds of millions of dollars in economic damage. Operation Metro Surge did nothing to address fraud in our state. It harmed our economy, it scarred our people, and it dealt a devastating blow to fraud enforcement in Minnesota. As a result of Metro Surge, federal prosecutors' efforts to fight fraud in Minnesota have suffered a major setback. In the U.S. Attorney's Office, 6 high-ranking attorneys resigned because of the Department of Justice pressured them to investigate Renee Good's grieving widow. 8 more prosecutors then followed. The remaining staff should be spending their time prosecuting fraudsters and criminals. Instead, they are drowning in immigration-related petitions resulting from Operation Metro Surge. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, we cannot combat fraud without consistent messaging and support from our political leaders. All sides, Republicans and Democrats, the federal government and the states, must work together if we are going to win the fight against those who would steal from the public. We need our leaders to unite in that effort, not to use it as a political tool to score political points. I stand ready and willing to work with the members of this committee to advance the cause of holding fraudsters accountable. Now more than ever, we need coordinated, cooperative engagement across law enforcement if we are to achieve our goals. I look forward to your questions.